All right. Good day, everybody, and welcome to Headline Hits with LW. I got a co host today with Tammy the Hammer Nation. It is Friday, March 11th, 2022. A lot of stuff in the headlines today that we're going to talk about. How are you this afternoon, Tammy?
I'm doing just fine, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Trying.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say trying to keep up with everything breaking. It's hard to do.
It is. It's a gar. It's a. It went from a garden hose to a fire hydrant. So
Yeah.
let's just hit it. Let's dive right into it. So first thing I want to talk about here is the Biden administration. Biden pre previews a goal for the U.S. and Latin America to drastically expand access to legal immigration. Now, listen to this, folks. This is very concerning for me because we talk about this all the time. When they just let those floodgates constantly open and people are coming here legally, illegally, probably more illegally than anything, it's hard on our economy, and you know that they're doing it for voter base. So President Joe Biden previewed a future declaration to address the migration crisis at the southern border in the United States during a meeting at the White House with the president of Colombia. Now, here we are 14 months into this administration, and he's just now addressing this. Wake up. He, quote, says it needs to drastically expand access to resettlement and other legal pathways to migration. He goes further to say that it's the best way, in my view, for us to live up to our collective values to welcome immigrants and refugees, keep migrants safe and secure in all our countries, end quote. Now, he's worried about keeping these people safe. What about keeping Americans safe?
Absolutely. That ties into my friend and your friend Frank Lopez Jr. Was at the Del Rio border yesterday, saying the same thing. The Cubans and Colombians were the people filing in yesterday, Mike, and that ties into Mr. B saying, "Hey, we need the Colombians." He had the meeting you just said. Frank Lopez says this is still going on day in, day out. We're in the millions now with these illegals coming in, and it is a money thing. It ties into everything you just said about Biden and what he said. Frank Lopez was saying these people come in and they have brown lunch bags. They've got manila envelopes with their marching orders. They have this great transportation. They're taken care of very well. They drive them to San Antonio, and then they start dispersing them to other parts of the country. And the thing is, the resettlement issue is exactly what Frank Lopez said as well. He said that's what they want to do. They want to also bring in the Ukrainians and Russians. They want resettlement of our country with other people
Yeah,
illegally.
and this is the deal. I reported months ago that at the end of 2021, there was 1.9 million illegals that crossed our border in the year of 2021. We are March 11th, which we're almost at the end of the first quarter of the new year. And if you divide 2 million by 4 quarters, we're looking at what? Probably at least 500,000 illegals that have already crossed our border. Very concerning to us. Very, very concerning.
Yes, yes. And nothing's being done about it. He said they're still pouring in, day out. So, but in the meantime, Biden's worried about the people over there. So, what does that
Correct.
tell you?
And the Ukraine Russian border. He's more worried about uh their sovereignty instead of our own. So let's move on to the next headline. We're going to talk about a poll that just came out. The poll says that Russia would not have invaded Ukraine if Trump were still president. I believe that with all my with all my heart. So the poll, likely voters believe that Russia would not have invaded Ukraine if former President Donald Trump were still president. And that was a poll that they just put out yesterday on Thursday. 57% expressing the belief that President Joe Biden could have done more to prevent the Russian invasion of Ukraine, while most Democrats, 63%, believe Biden did everything possible to prevent that. It just goes on and breaks down more percentages, but I believe that we had a much stronger foreign policy under President Donald Trump than we do under Biden right now. And I know there are some people in our circle that believe he didn't have a great foreign policy, and that may be true. It may not have been perfect, but I guarantee you it's a lot stronger than it is now.
Absolutely. And Biden just this morning came out and said he had a conversation with Ukraine President Zelensky, reiterating his support for Ukraine. And Biden is calling now for ending normal trade relations with Russia. He said that would allow the White House to be able to put tariffs on Russian goods and also ban imports on Russian diamonds, vodka, and seafood. Biden's calling for Congress to join the European Union and the group of 7 industrial nations to suspend the normal trade relations with Russia, because Biden said, Putin's the aggressor and must pay a price. Well, how about our borders? Just protect our borders. He's worried about everything over there and the
Mhm.
Ukraine. He's total support of them. It's amazing
Mhm.
to me, staggering.
Everybody before America, America last. That's their slogan in this administration, and we've talked about it lots of times. They're not going to control Putin. Not for 1 second. He has been ahead of them by miles. This administration is so far behind and so ridiculous. They don't even know well, their ass from a hole in the ground, to be honest with you. So
Right.
um, we're in trouble when it comes to that stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. He hasn't made the right call yet. I can't see him doing anything. I can't say anything positive about the man yet. Not holding my breath any longer. And yeah, Alabama reloader, no vodka. No vodka.
No vodka. All right. Well, let's hit the last two headlines that I have here. And this is the headlines for spending another $1.5 trillion question mark. It's far from over question mark. The WHO chief demands attention, says that the coronavirus pandemic is far from over. Now, what in the hell is he talking about? Well, he goes on to say that the pandemic is far from over and global governments must continue testing and enforcing social compliance. Listen to that, folks. Social compliance to fight its progress until the World Health Organization says otherwise. So this dictator over the WHO, he wants more restrictions, and he does not like the fact that so many countries around the globe have lifted these restrictions and got back to life as usual. I ask you this: who cares anymore? We all know that this is an absolute hoax. People are getting back to life. I mean, a lot of us haven't even bought into this for the last 2 years, but these guys are still going to push the issue there, Tammy.
Well, yeah, and that ties into China just ordered a lockdown, Mike, of 9 million residents in eastern city of Changcheng due to a variant of the C. They said that people are allowed to venture out every 2 days for food, water, and other necessities that they have to hold up wherever they're at. And there's only 2 cases reported. And they did this major lockdown. There's only been 397 cases nationwide, and here they are
That
locking down their people again. So they're trying to reinforce that again, calling it a variant. It's the same
mhm.
O variant that's been out. It's not a new one. I don't think they're finished with the old one yet, but that's ridiculous. 9 million residents of Changchun as of this
Well,
morning.
they're saying 2 years later, more than 6 million people have died of the sickness, and that 444 million cases have been registered. And then you drop down into the article and start reading to where they say that the Decepticon accounted for 99.7% of samples collected in the last 30 days. Again, I ask you, who cares?
Exactly. Who cares? Who cares? I
It's
guess they're
cold.
just,
It's cold and flu season. It's cold and flu season. It's a
we haven't
normal thing.
we don't hear those 2 words unless you say them, Mike. Nobody in the media or nobody else talks about that. They just kind of disappeared because everything is
It
the
has.
sea, right?
Yep.
Right?
Everything. Your dog sneezes on the carpet. It's the sea.
They've got a variant of it. You better watch out. It's
Exactly.
crazy. I can't believe anybody's buying into it anymore, Mike.
Well, let's hit the last headline for today, and let's talk about the spending bill. Let's talk about 1.5 trillion with a T that the Democrats are ready to spend. So the Democrats passed in the House. They passed the 1.5 trillion dollar omnibus spending bill after Democrats disarray. The House Democrats passed the 1.5 trillion omnibus spending bill after hours of delay and the Democrats were confused. House Democrats passed the stimulus bill, which was separated into two votes. The first half focused on security funding, passed by a 361 vote to 69 vote against. And then the second half featured, listen to this, the remaining of the spending passed 260 to 171, and it's all about the sickness and the pandemic package is what it's all about.
Guys, absolutely ridiculous. How do they keep coming up with money for all this other BS stuff or other
Just
countries and
print it.
stuff?
We just
Oh,
print it. It grows on trees, you know.
yeah, I didn't realize that. Gosh,
Well,
what a
if you
great
step out,
administration.
if you step out behind the White House, there's a whole orchard of of money trees out there. So
Yeah,
he just sends his cronies out there to just pick that money right off the tree. I mean, it just grows on trees. We can spend our way back to prosperity. Didn't you know that?
no, I had no idea. It's a new way of life, I guess, huh? All of us should be
Well,
very successful with doing that.
I don't think I would venture to try that theory. So here it is. Here's some of the breakdown. The bill would spend over $100 billion on the Green New Deal, in different ideas, innovations, and listen to this: advance racial justice through the Department of Agriculture. How is that even a thing? The bill also contains $1 million for environmental justice activists as the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and 75 million for a low or zero emissions on vehicles. $26 billion for more food stamps funding. Um, it's just ridiculous on how much they put into these bills. And as Americans, not even patriots, just as Americans, we should be so concerned about this. We need to get our government and our spending back under control. It provides
Absolutely.
$66 million for racial and ethnic approaches to community health research and an increase of $8 million from last year. Can you believe that?
It's just it's these ideas that are way out there, these ideals, instead of taking care of problems that are real and people suffering, people on the streets, the vets, et cetera, et cetera. It's all these trillions and these astronomical numbers of money they just keep printing and finding to try to fund these ideals that won't even happen right away. It's going to take forever for these green deals and stuff to do anything, and it's gonna make us go down and under. And I think that's what they want.
Well, there's still $100 billion left from the last stimulus package that they voted on that they haven't even spent for the sickness. So there's money still left over from previous packages that they haven't even spent. And the problem is, I don't know about you, but I didn't vote for any of this. Did you vote for
No.
any of this? Are the people listening right now? Have you guys voted for any of this racial BS that they're putting into this stimulus package? This is your money and my money. This is what they take out of your hard-earned check week in and week out, and they're out there spending it foolishly, folks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's disturbing and disgusting. Way past time to stop. I mean, I think billions used to be a lot, you know. Now it's in the trillions and the
Mhm.
gazillions. I mean, it's a ridiculous amounts of money we can't even wrap our head around. It's just it's fantasy land. It's not real. It's not
Yep,
real, but we pay the price we suffer, you know?
you're
It's real
right.
for us. It's real
It
for
is
us,
real for
Mike.
us. Yep. All
Yes.
right, folks. Well, that's the headline hits for today. You got
Wait,
anything
wait,
else
wait.
there, Tammy?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was gonna say
All
back
right.
up that train. Don't cancel me out
I'm
yet.
ready to go. I'm ready to go.
No, I've got one more thing, Mike. Jesse Smollett. You guys remember our
Oh, that's
friend
right.
Jesse Smollett? He actually got sentenced this morning because remember in December he was found guilty of 5 counts of felony and disorderly conduct for lying to the police, claiming racist and homophobic attacks on himself. Proven all wrong, found guilty. He's sentenced to 150 days in jail. But the clincher is, and you know, I shouldn't laugh at this, but this is how crazy the world is anymore. On his way to the jail as they let him out, he said, I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. If anything happens to me while I'm in here, he goes, I'm not suicidal. I mean, this is just like a dang movie. And the judge was saying, you know what? You wanted the limelight, Jesse. You got it. You got it for a while. And he goes, unfortunately, it was in a bad movie. You picked the wrong movie. So I thought,
Hmm.
kudos. So
Yep.
that's the latest
He even
on
called him a
Jesse.
liar. He called him a liar. The judge called him a liar.
Yes. Yes. So he's going away for 150 days. And
Are we
that's
okay
it.
to go now? Are we
Yeah.
okay to go
Yeah,
now?
boss.
All right.
We're ready to go.
All right. You guys have a great day. Who knows when we're going to show up next? I might surprise you guys. So have a great afternoon. God bless. Love you all.
Bye.